This video that I'm about to do is going to be called The Best Explanation versus the Alternative Theory. Alright?
If you've seen my responses to Chad's earlier videos, or enjoyed his videos, I think you can see where this is heading. Chad thinks that the best explanation is the vacuous, non-explanatory, intellectual cop-out of God did it. So let's be perfectly clear here. God did it is not an explanation. It is non-explanatory. To quote Talk Origins, an explanation tells why something is one way and not another. God did it does not explain why something is one way rather than the other. It's just a blind assertion. Nor is it an explanation that is in any way testable, because nearly everything down the years has been used as some sort of evidence for a deity. You've come across a phenomenon whose mechanisms are unknown or, more often, simply confusing to the individual. God did it. How would you test such an assertion? Well, you can't. What would you expect to see should such a hypothesis be true? Anything you like. Can you falsify such a hypothesis? No. Then it's unscientific. With naturalistic explanations, you get a hypothesis, then you go out and test it. You gather evidence, then you reach a conclusion. This is nearly reversed in the invocation of a deity. I say nearly because there seems to me very little hypothesizing going on, so we're left with the last stages, gathering evidence and reaching a conclusion based on the evidence. This is the correct order to do things. This is not what happens with creationism. Creationism, the God did it assertion that skips merrily along beside it, start with a conclusion, God did it, then attempts to shoehorn evidence into a space not even fit for the ablest contortionist, all the while ignoring, lying about, or twisting any contradictory evidence. We start with a null hypothesis here. No deity exists. It is something of a necessity to prevent interference with the natural interactions that rule the universe. A deity can interfere. Did we get that result because that's how the universe works, or is it because Poseidon wanted the experiment to turn out that way? Thus, the only reasonable assumption to make in light of blind, unsubstantiated assertions such as those to the existence of deities is that, until further evidence is provided, no deities exist. This is the singular reasonable position to hold. The alternative hypothesis is that a deity or deities exist. This is, thus far, unsubstantiated by any tangible evidence, but the null hypothesis is always open to be shown incorrect, and the alternative correct, by evidence. But until the alternative is supported by some evidence, the null hypothesis wins out, I'm afraid. Sorry, that's just the way it works. And this isn't some anti-God drill, it's just the way that science works. For example, evolution ran this gauntlet. The null hypothesis was stasis in organisms. Evolution was posited as the alternative. It required substantiation to become accepted in the scientific community. Reality kindly obliged, and now evolution is the null. It is simply so well supported by the evidence that it is no longer, and hasn't been for some time, the alternative that needs supporting. It's the null hypothesis. That's not to say that testing it has stopped. In fact, now that it's null, it's under more scrutiny than ever. Science is about bitch-slapping other scientists' hypotheses into next week, and what would be better than overturning a well-established theory? Nothing! That's one of the goals scientists aspire to. Anyway, back to Chad. He offers 7 examples where he feels the non-explanation of God did it / does it is the best explanation. I've said this piece at the start because all I'd be doing is repeating myself 7 times. Untestable, non-explanatory, non-predictive, unsupported alternative hypothesis, extraordinary claims requiring extraordinary evidence, yada yada yada. Let's continue.
Causation. God provides the best explanation for the existence of the universe and all that's in it. The alternative theory is that there was absolutely true nothingness. And then, for no reason, from this true nothingness came something. That something then suddenly expanded and resulted in the entire universe and everything that you see in it.
Chad's got a thing about nothingness. I think the concept frightens him. I find it enthralling. Given the oddness of quantum mechanics, anything might happen if a state of true nothingness emerges. Regardless, there are models where what preceded the universe was not a state of nothing. To repeat something I said in my conservation of angular momentum video, it may have been the collapse or failed timekeeping of a prior universe, or the higher dimension branes described in some string theories colliding. The answer we don't know in science is not an excuse to be lazy and go, therefore God did it. You can't say, we don't know, therefore we know. That's just illogical. The answer "we don't know" is a gateway to awesomeness. It means new experiments, new hypotheses to test, new ideas to band about, open mysteries still to explore.
The next thing is order. God provides the best explanation for abstract notions such as numbers, mathematic formula, information, chemical-based processes, and natural laws. The alternative theory is that the chaotic first elements, by random lucky chance, somehow ordered themselves into complex informational systems.
As I mentioned earlier, a deity is antithetical to the notion of rules in the universe, when they can simply break them as they wish. Was that result because of Zeus or the way the universe worked? You can't tell when you invoke gods. Abstract notions are emergent features of our greater brain capacities. And random lucky chance? The universe follows rules, there's no chance about it. Right at the end, Chad saith,
somehow ordered themselves into complex informational systems.
Hint hint, DNA. Well, we have a mechanism for which complex genetics can arise. Evolution.
Next is design. God provides the best explanation for the absolute complexity in cosmological, stellar, planetary, chemical, and biological systems. The alternative theory is that random chance rolled the dice and out popped a well-constructed and well-engineered universe.
Well-constructed and well-engineered universe? Yes, so well-engineered that stars like the Sun don't burn all their fuel in their lifetime. So well-engineered that the cycle of star death and birth is so inefficient that there are quadrillions upon quadrillions of tons of wasted material from stars that will likely never be reused, just floating around in space, doing nothing. As an aside, this seems to be an offshoot of the fine-tuning argument, which is an argument I've never really got. So here we have people saying that the universe is fine-tuned for life, and that the probability of this happening by chance is improbably minute. But we've only got one universe to observe, and it clearly contains life. Thus the only probability calculation we can run is... This is the only meaningful calculation we can make in probability, unless creationists are privy to observing some other universes. Another thing is that if a universe did not allow life, there will be no life in it to go, this universe doesn't allow life. In short, if this universe hadn't allowed life, we wouldn't even be here to ponder it, so it's irrelevant.